Hey, folks, we're here with another episode of the Risk Control Show. It's Matt Kieta and Steve Wilmes. And hey, Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. We just passed daylight savings time, so we're getting more sun. And I've always been a bit of a sun guy, so this is one of my favorite times of the year.
Yes, you are a sun and you like the sun just like I do. Although the time change this year has given me a little bit of a problem in the early wee hours of the morning, like 3 o'clock. Waking up going, what's going on? But I'm thinking maybe it's more the stories that we're seeing here. And
Could be.
that's why we wanted to give you this great fundraising idea. And that was what's the number one seller in the oldest profession in the world that is commonly referred to, Matt?
It's sex, Steve.
Sex
Sex
sells.
sells.
Yes, sex sells. Yeah, if you want to have a great fundraiser, sell sex. That's what schools are doing now. And I think, yeah, it's a fantastically stupid idea. So I want to make sure and point out here that that was all sarcasm. Wilmes, LLC, and Steve Wilmes, as
And
well
Malkita.
and Matt Kieta, do not condone sexual exploitation of anyone, especially children. And this story that came out, I was driving to San Francisco and heard about this story in Oklahoma. It is disgusting, and basically, um, it's not surprising though. We have this high school that was trying to raise some funds. I guess they raised about $150,000 in funds. But Deer Creek School District is on the on the chopping block here because they're doing these activities where students are placing peanut butter on each other's toes or other body parts and kind of licking it off. Um, and they say that they didn't know that this was going on, and no no staff were involved. Matt, you can talk more about it because I know you've done a lot more research on this particular specifics of this case.
You hit on the key points there, Steve. Is that yes, there's a fundraiser. There's a fundraiser that the district is claiming they didn't have a hand in directly monitoring the events. So this particular event, which was a paid event, Steve, students actually paid to get into
Who
this.
did
That
they
was
pay?
they paid whoever is running the fundraiser, I would presume.
Yeah, so I guess you know,
Excuse me.
bless you. No staff whatsoever is involved in taking payments.
Right.
What?
Well,
I
I mean
I
that's
heard that I heard that is his name Ryan Superintendent
the
Walters.
Oklahoma State, yeah, Ryan Walters, I believe, Oklahoma State superintendent.
Yeah, I think he's retracted that statement, you know.
Mhm.
Um but yes, I think everybody would say that out of the gate. We had no knowledge that this was going on. Oh,
Of
really?
course, of
Because we got
course.
videos. So go ahead.
Yeah, so that apparently this event you pay to get in, and part of it is licking involves students licking peanut butter off of their some body parts, toes, armpits. There's some videos. It just, I mean, we're not going to hit play. You can go look for them if you want, but the point is that it's a sexualized fundraiser, Steve, and parents
Yeah.
didn't know about it. There was no sent for home. There wasn't a form sent home to say, hey, is it okay if your kid can participate in this?
Yeah, well, I
And I
think
mean, there,
I think the other point to that is, while no parents approved of this, there was something sent because there, to my understanding, from some of the reports that I've read and heard, was that there were adults in the room watching this,
hmm,
and again, I'm just showing right now on the screen. You can clearly see the students licking toes. There's armpit licking. You can see that there's some small kids on this one. This goes back to 2015, Matt,
Right.
at a neighboring site just down the road. And in that one, it almost looks like there's some adults who are having their toes licked. But I can't see the faces or really determine the age, and I don't want to put that out there that actually happened, but it
Right.
kind of looks that way. And I think, um, you know, I'm not surprised with what's going on in our society today that we are even discussing this story today. And that is
Right.
that we've had this shift where we're looking at introducing sexual acts to students at an earlier and earlier age. They're becoming more explicit. We see this in a couple of the books on transgenderism. We see where as schools are doing drag story hour. We know through history, and if you've ever attended a drag show, that you know that there's sexuality involved with this. It's there's just a lot. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a show. What would be so interesting about a person dressed up as a woman?
Right.
If or a man dressed up as a woman, if there was what's the point of that? Unless there's some type of really fun, outrageous type of activities going on. And
Right.
otherwise, you see people walking around doing everyday, ordinary stuff all the time. So what's the point? How does it sell a ticket? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And so here we see, even with the gender pronouns and everything, we're just moving where we're talking more and more and more about sexuality and sex itself. And you've seen these reports, and so it's not surprising that you have school districts raising money on sex because sex sells. And people say, well,
Yep.
this isn't sexual. No, it is. And these are the things that are taught in these really outrageous courses that are brought on. It's going to be interesting to watch this, Matt, and see what type of courses and little fundraise or after school or selective programs that this school district has brought in to expose the children to. Because this is a complete violation of mandated reporter training. It is sexual
Yep.
exploitation. We know that this is kink and fetish, and this obviously at that age, is going to arouse certain males, like almost all of them, when they are having body parts licked by female counterparts. So it's disgusting. We don't condone it. I want to make that very clear. And if you're
Yes.
thinking of having a sexualized fundraiser, then you really need to think again. And I think what's so fascinating about this, Matt, is TMZ found that there was some other sites, districts, neighboring school sites that were participating in this going back to 2015.
Yep.
And
Almost 10 years.
yeah, this is going to bring up it's this topic is tangential to a couple of our other topics that we're going to be exploring on our podcast show here and in our blog post. But that is, what gets measured gets managed. And then the whole idea of mandated reporter, or homicidal threat training, workplace violence, all these things. You know, how do you not see this? And if you are the principal, vice principal, administrator for this, and someone comes to you with this idea, this should be the biggest red flag that you have ever laid your hands on,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it just you see this and you go, it just. I think that I know it's just really difficult to understand if you're purpose is to part of your goal purpose is the protection of those in your charge, which are children, which are among the most vulnerable populations out there, then it's shocking to me that someone could come up with this idea and say, yeah, yeah, oh, it's fundraising, it's for a good cause, so we'll go ahead and do it.
Yeah, because look at our society and look at where we're at. Porn has been for mainstream America one of those things that was in the back closet.
Yeah,
Now it's free on the internet. And when we look at some of these cases that we have to investigate and we see some of the stuff that maybe a sexual predator or perpetrator or someone that's worked in a school, and we look at their history on these things and we see that they're watching these videos like student and teacher sex and this and that, and you look at the number of views that video has obtained, they far exceed any YouTube video that is commonly looked at.
oh yeah,
Millions and millions and millions and millions of views without anything in there, monetization or whatever. But the topics are disgusting, and you have organizations pushing for more and more of this really offbeat stuff. You have the decriminalization informally of pedophiles, and now they're calling them minor attracted children. I just heard a story on here where someone's making child sex dolls, and they want to have this out there, and that the supporters are like, well, this will reduce the attractiveness in real life to the children themselves. And it's like, we can sit here and try to normalize this. You see this with the pornographic award shows now. They're big time stars out there. You see the OnlyFans type websites where people are selling sex on there, and you have people
right,
bragging about these things. They show a couple pictures and they make large amounts of money. Why would individuals not want to do that for the school, especially when there's such budget crises? But
right,
it's not something we condone. I'm totally against it. We investigate these things, as not only for the research and things like this with our little podcast, but also as part of our duties when our clients call us on these things. It's
right.
just outrageous. And when you look at um, what's going on in California with the sexual abuse and molestation, and then you see a story like this, you go, how could you be so blind to this? Right there's a red flag. Someone comes up to you with this idea, that's an immediate, you know what, we're going to put you on administrative leave and we're going to investigate you because there's some weird stuff going on here. And
Right,
and I
right.
think you can look at this, and insurance carriers are trying to pull out of California because these cases are so big. I think we just had $130 million settlement on one of these cases. It's astronomical, and quite frankly, it's unfortunately well deserved in this case, because these are the types of things that are just so blatant that are out there, and it's outrageous. It's just outrageous. Um,
Yeah.
I, but when you look at it, how do you miss these things? Who's doing the audits? Who's actually listening? And you can sit here and say no staff were involved. Matt, when's the last time you saw a group of kids yelling and screaming and just hanging out in the gym with no staff anywhere, nothing being reported anywhere in the middle of the day?
Oh, geez, that maybe it happened when I was one of those kids myself, and we were intentionally gathering somewhere where no other no other adults would be, but definitely not on school property. Definitely not in an area where you could be, where we would be found. It just, yeah, it's the district saying that sounds patently false to me, and it feels like there's going to be more to this story coming out, because you can't tell me that an event like this. Look, I went to the other district that has had this
Right.
at that school going on, and their site has they have rotating articles across the front of their district page.
Which one's this?
They're
This North Edmond?
Yeah, it's the Edmond Public Schools. If you go there, there's actually a fundraiser week article, or not article, a flashing imagery. Now, it's not from the event we're talking about, but yeah, it makes direct references right on the district page to the existence of
Edmond.
it.
Do you have that link handy? I want to pull it up for our viewers.
Yeah,
Edmond School District?
Edmond School District, yes.
And
Me. Or excuse me, Edmond Public Schools.
home. Okay, let's see. 100 Days of School Fashion Show. Frontier Rock Stars. I'm just pulling this up for our viewers.
Yeah, there's like 4 of them. Give it a sec. You'll see it.
101 Days. How to make... Oh, well, here it goes. How to make peanut butter cups. Let me put this on the main screen. Celebrating a successful fundraising week.
There it is. Yes.
But there's nothing. Yeah, there's no doubt that individuals at that site know that there's a fundraiser going on. When parents just come onto a school site and walk in and gather and watch a bunch of stuff, it's just not even feasible. I get why they're trying to cover it up, because there's a bunch of people that are probably going to get fired, lose their job, and maybe even face legal ramifications for what they've done. And I think there's a couple parents that have found out about this and are just really fired up through the roof. And I don't disagree. It's, I just can't get over it. I mean, we send home these things that for parents to sign, that your student can be photographed, and they try to slip that in on the annual notifications every school year. And I always decline that for my daughter. And I don't know if it made any difference or not, but I do know that, I didn't want her to be exposed to certain things, and that would definitely take her out of the loop, because she couldn't be there where people were filming these things or on certain videos, help protect her identity and everything else. So I just think we've gone way too far. And as our society here in America continues to normalize these deviant sexual behaviors, we're going to see more and more of this stuff. But you have to understand that this is a giant red flag. And Matt and I are going to be talking about a couple things coming up on some of our other shows here in the future. One is what gets measured gets managed. Another is going to be the sexual exploitation, mandated reporter, and those types of things. But this is just one of the issues that creates the crisis that we have in California. And it can easily be spotted. It's easy to see, but people just aren't paying attention. And what I don't understand is why there's not some kind of list of appropriate fundraisers that are out there. And there's all kinds of great ideas that don't involve the sexual predilections of these,
whoever's suggesting this, whoever's behind this concept, it just, it had to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So
it did start somewhere.
Yeah. So that idea did just pop out of nowhere. Somebody had that idea. So which was probably deep seated in something. So yes, there are plenty of fundraiser ideas.
Yeah. So why does the site not have a list of approved fundraisers that have been looked at, discussed? Again, because people don't want to listen to experts, and they don't want to reach out and throw their ideas around. We see this all the time. There's a lot of misconceptions out there. This is one of them, and I know people don't like to get the heat from the fringe groups that tend to push some of these things, but you have to
Right.
understand your role and your responsibility as an educator, and understand that there are certain things you just don't do, and the sexual abuse and molestation and exploitation of children is one of them. So I hope our viewers are not thinking of these. If they are, please do not do them. Realize where you're at and what the point of the education system is, which is to educate the children. Fundraisers are great, I get it, but if you really have to rely on these fundraisers like this, then you're doing something wrong with your budget, and you're not managing the pieces that you need to manage. And I can tell you, we talk about fault versus responsibility all the time. And one of the biggest faults or lack of responsibility that a lot of managers have is they don't ask for the things that they need, and budget is one of them. You have to measure it, you have to do some analysis, and you have to really look at what you need to do the job properly.
Yeah.
It's as easy as that. And I know parents are sick and tired of having to buy paper and pens and markers and for this project and that project. Where's all this money going?
Yep.
And I can
Yep.
tell you, over the course of my time working in schools, we would find that some teachers would ask for these 24 packs of markers and crayons and this and that, and then you'd find them being sold on sites like the popular ones, big ones.
eBay.
I wasn't going to
eBay.
name any names, but you'd see these things
Okay.
out there like on those types of aftermarket resale sites, and you just are thinking like, what is going on here? You know?
Right.
So, and I've seen it with the athletic directors too, selling shirts and uniforms, and then, pocketing money. So, yeah, there's a lot of bad out there. There's a ton more good, but you really have to open your eyes and see what's going on. This story is disgusting. I feel bad for the kids. I think everyone that was involved in that should get fired immediately. I
Yeah.
really don't care that there are certain protections. I think fire, and then let them file their lawsuits and take it in front of a jury. That's my thought.
Yeah, I tend to agree. If you have the lack of understanding about the potential impact of something like this, then even if it was an innocently made decision where you just made a mistake, you lack the ability to make proper decisions to be around children. So
Right.
you shouldn't be
Yeah,
you shouldn't be
exactly.
in that
That's the
job.
red flag. Like, you even have this thought. Okay, you had the thought. That's great. But now you have the I was going to say something dirty, but you have the ability to bring this forth and suggest it. No filter, no filter, no filter.
Mm,
We all have
yeah.
thoughts. And again, I'm not saying that people can't have their own sexual desires and predilections and these types of things. What is done between two consenting adults is done between them. And
Yes.
you can, I mean, there's still things on the books that are outlawed,
Yeah.
but what you do in your privacy of your own home among consenting adults, and I want to make that very clear, two consenting
Yeah.
adults or more or whatever, then that's fine. But if you don't have the right judgment to see that children shouldn't be exposed to this kind of stuff, and anyway, that's the story, folks. Don't use sex as a fundraiser. We don't condone it, and we're not going to condone it, and we're not going to tell you, yeah, good job raising money, because it's not a good job raising money. And I
Right.
think any cause that is behind that too, that then accepts that money, should also be looked at as well, because they are continuing this nasty.
Yeah.
But I guess we've made our point, Matt. Don't forget to check us out on some of our other really cool. I'm going to turn that off. Well, let's put this up. We have a bunch of great training sites. Dollar Training Club. We just released our workplace violence.
Yes.
SB 553. The sex thing is just like all over here. I just can't get that. We just released Senate Bill 553, Workplace Violence Prevention Plan Training, inappropriate behavior in the workplace, de-escalation techniques for workplace violence, and we got a bunch more coming. We're doing one. We've been hearing a lot on SWOT analysis, so we're going to be doing a training on that. And if you're watching this and you happen to be a tattoo artist, we just released bloodborne pathogens for tattoo artists and body art folks. So that one complies with California's Safe Body Art Act, and you can get the training there. Really great training. And then we got a bunch more coming, bunch more. So
Always.
Stay tuned in. Check out the blog post. Matt's on doing some of those trainings, especially in inappropriate behavior. And if you want to see how I threw him off at the beginning, you can check out the free preview there on dollartrainingclub.com. So we will see you soon. And by the way, we do have a trial, and this one's important, I think, Matt. We have a trial for our Dollar Training Club. I'm just going to bring this up here. And that is, you can try our Dollar Training Club for 7 days for a single $1. And then after that, it's just $7 a month, and you get full access to all of our courses that are on that program. And that's fantastic. So even if you just need the forklift recertification or certification, that's another great course that we just put out there is our rigging signaler certification program, fully online, interactive with us, Matt and myself, and that is on there too. So if you need these, you can get all that just to start out for $1. Yep. You're excited about it, Matt?
It's a great deal. It's something I think we have hundreds of videos on there. They're all performed by our in-house experts with decades of experience backing it up. It really is a tremendous opportunity. So for that price, I don't know how you could go wrong.
Yeah, and then Matt just recertified his first aid CPR instructor course, and we just threw a whole bunch of money at our equipment for that. So we got some new equipment. We're teaching the first aid CPR. So check us out for that too. We'll see you very soon. Later, Matt.
See you.